Do you feel alone and down in the dumps? Are you still in sort of a haze because of the Saints' 4-6 start? Are you just utterly confused? Well, you're not alone. It's so weird around here that we brought in Larry Holder for a Thursday edition of Picksie Dust Friday. Up next on the Black and Gold Today. Welcome to the Black and Gold Today, sponsored by Cadillac of New Orleans. I'm your host, pretending today is Friday, Jim Derry. Well, to say the last 3 months have been interesting for Saints fans would probably be considered an understatement. However, in this case, interesting is not really a good thing. An 0-3 start, followed by a 4-1 run, followed by an 0-2 collapse, has had those who spend Sundays glued to their widescreen TVs riding that who-dat roller coaster. It doesn't that your friendly prognosticators here at NOLA.com have got your hopes up by picking the Saints to win both of those games. And while I know that you were expecting Harry Houdat today, we had to push him back a day, and I know you're disappointed. So instead, don't be sad. Look ahead. We're going to look back on the season and figure out what we've done wrong. We have brought in Larry Holder a day early for Picksie Dust Thursday.
I'm the worst to see what happened and to look back on, because I'm surprised you haven't had another montage to belittle me because we both can't get picks right. And yet, I don't think any Saints fans can get any picks right, because who would have thought they would have lost these last 2 games going into the bye week? We could have predicted Rob Ryan being fired.
Well, you're doing better than me, because at least you're just, you're talking. I'm trying to read a teleprompter, and apparently, I don't know, maybe I slept late this morning, maybe my daughter sprinkled something on me, I don't know.
It's the bye week. Look, you're supposed to take it easy and you fix your problems going forward in the next week. And because I'm here on a Thursday, it's totally befuddled you.
I have more problems than the Saints defense, I think.
I think you do.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's look back on this glorious season thus far. And it's been an interesting week, hasn't it?
I'd say so. Look, you knew, I knew, the players knew, Sean Payton knew, after the Redskins game, Rob Ryan was going to be fired. There was no question. They needed an incredible rebound from the previous couple of weeks, and they did not have that. They had their worst performance defensively than we've seen all season, and his departure is no surprise. Dennis Allen's promotion is no surprise, and it's the only real move you can make at that point in the season. You're not going to be able to make moves personnel-wise. You're not going to be firing. I know so many people in Twitter and our comments section ask about Joe Vitt and Bill Johnson and the assistants. Look, defensive coordinator, that's the main move you got to make. And Sean Payton prepared himself for this in the offseason. And look, I don't know if it's going to help. It can't hurt because the defense is playing so poorly right now.
I alluded to the Saints roller coaster, and it really has been. And I don't think anyone could foresee, even though they've done this sort of thing before where they've started out slow, they've got back to even and fallen back. I think this time, we both believe that when they got to 4-4, with the schedule that they had coming up, I think you and I both thought that this team was primed to make a run of some sort.
And I wasn't basing it on the talent and the product on the field. I was like you, basing it on the schedule. Look, they got through some of these games. They climbed their way back. Tennessee was terrible. Washington wasn't very good. And they got beat up by both of those teams. And I think you saw in those 2 games, though, look, the offense can't save the day all the time. Put up 28 points against Tennessee wasn't enough. And when you go on the road against Washington, who they were running on all cylinders, the offense isn't good enough week in and week out to get it done. Offense badly struggled after they put up 14 points. So now you can almost make an argument at Houston, you can pick them to lose. Carolina, Detroit, Jacksonville, at Tampa, at Atlanta. All of those games are losable. And yet, who knows, maybe they get a little healthy and scratch out a couple of wins.
I don't think there's a tougher team to predict in the NFL than this one. Because, when you think they're down and they stink, they'll come out and who knows, they might go out gangbusters after the bye week. I don't expect it, but it wouldn't shock you if they won. I don't think it would shock anyone if they won 5 out of their last 6 games, and it wouldn't shock anyone, or it certainly wouldn't shock me if they lost their last 6 games.
It would shock me if they won 5 of their last 6. It would definitely shock me, because I think they could lose all 3 division games. And I think they could lose against Jacksonville, whose offense is playing pretty well right now, even though their record's not very good. So I think it would more stun me if they won a bunch than rather they lose a bunch. I think honestly right now 7-9 is probably the ceiling, and that would have them going 3-3 in the final 6 games. And as our poor records have shown, we certainly can't predict how they're going to do. And I know inside the building,
we're going to keep trying.
Oh, I'm going to keep doing it and probably be wrong every week. But they don't know what they had in the building, and now they're at this point crossroads, and now you have a new defensive coordinator.
Speaking of keep trying, right after this, we're going to come back and we're going to put our Karnak hats on, even though he doesn't know who Karnak is.
Never heard of him.
And tell you what's going to happen the rest of the season, right after this.
What's one of the nicest things that comes with your new Cadillac from Cadillac of New Orleans? 0% interest.
Get 0% interest on all new Cadillacs, now at Cadillac of New Orleans. New owners, new attitude, on Lime Street in Rye in Metairie.
Well, the extra point today is we usually have our picks for what the Saints are going to do this weekend. Instead, we're going to do our picks for what the Saints' final record is going to be.
This is going to be awful.
And what how they're going to be down the stretch. And I can't. You didn't know this was coming.
Well, I already tried to do that in my column last week, and I've already screwed it up because I picked the Redskins to win. I picked them to go 8-8. I don't think they're going to go 8-8. I'm just going to go right now. I'm going to say 7-9. They could go. Watch, they go 9-7 or 10-6, but I think they go 7-9.
That means they're 3-3 down the stretch.
That means they go 3-3 down the stretch. Maybe they pull out a win at Tampa. Maybe they pull out a win at Atlanta, but they're going to stumble along the way a few times. They're just not good enough to be consistent. And do I have to make a prediction on Sean Payton's future yet?
Absolutely.
That's not the question. That's not the question.
We didn't, but absolutely.
If they go 7-9, Sean Payton's out. I think he leaves. So I'm predicting 7-9, and I'm predicting Sean Payton will not be the head coach next year.
You know, it's been real interesting to see the comments from Saints fans after they were 4-4. If you said anything bad about them, you were a moron. And 2 weeks later, if you say anything good or try to put any kind of positive slant, you're a moron. I mean, I know I'm a moron either way, but you know,
I'm glad you said it because I'm a genius.
Well,
or a mad scientist.
We'll see in 6 weeks, and then we'll pull out clips from all over the place. I say, this team is just going nowhere fast. I think there's so many changes that need to be made, and I think 6-10 is more likely than 8-8, and I think 5-11 is more likely than 9-7. So I'm going to say 6-10, and I think that's wishful thinking. Even I think this team's going to be terrible the last 6 games. I think there are lots of changes going to be made. I think Sean Payton is one of them. I think that this very well could be the last season that Drew Brees plays as a New Orleans Saint. I think it's very possible.
It's possible. There's no question. But on the Sean Payton end, it's not the Saints forcing Sean out. It's Sean walking. That's
well, right. But he's going to because he wants greener pastures.
Well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but how did they get into this mess?
Hey, he won a Super Bowl.
That's another show.
King of the city forever.
Don't forget to come back on Friday. We will definitely have Harry Hood at this time. You've got to see this guy. He knows it all. Really, he's going to make Larry look bad.
That's pretty easy.
See you Friday.